fixes every Luminar Neo should know is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 10 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone. So our topic today is going to be on just quick fixes every Luminar Neo user should know. And some of these you're going to look at and say, wow, that's why my catalog isn't opening as fast as it should. Or maybe your previews aren't as quick as they should be. I'm going to show you those. Please do me a huge favor. After we go through these, if there's any that I'm missing, which I'm sure there are, please leave comments for those. And if you notice on our Facebook group and somebody else is having issues like this, please share this with them. All right? Well, let me just jump right in. So these are the top 5 that I came up with. And again, there's more, I'm sure. The first one is damaged or overloaded catalogs. Loaded catalogs slow everything down, which we'll review those. Catalogs stored on an external drive. Photos stored on an external drive, but then you disconnect the drive. Moving or deleting photos outside of Luminar. And then here's one my good buddy Dal and Carl have been helping people with, understanding single image modes, because it's very confusing to people. All right, so those, in my opinion, are the areas that I want to work with you guys on. But I want to dive right in first with the first part of it. And before we get into the others, let's make sure Luminar Neo is set up properly first. All right, so here I am. I'm inside my Luminar Neo catalog. And keep in mind what a catalog is. So think of Luminar Neo as this huge, giant database. You're not importing images into Luminar Neo. They're still on your hard drive. What you're doing is importing or adding to the quote database where those images are located. And that's what the catalogs do. It stores all the data, all locations of where the files are. It also stores the changes you made to each and every one of those images. Any of the star ratings you put to it, any of the flags. So these are things that the catalog is doing for you. So if you think about this, if you have tens of thousands of images inside your catalog, that's going to slow it down. Because every time I move through this, like, I'm going to go through here. Now, this is a smaller catalog. Look how quick it's refreshing. You don't even notice it. If I were to click on an image, let's do this one here. Look, it took a millisecond. Look at this. Look how quick I'm bombing through these images. If it's not doing that for you, okay, then that may be a sign that your catalog may be too large, all right? Here are 2 schools of thoughts when it comes to catalogs. Project-based catalogs or one large catalog. Project-based catalogs are based on projects that you do. And I'll give you an example here. So I'm going to come up and let's say File. Here's my catalogs. And what I want to do is I'm going to open up and I'm going to show you the catalog inside my Windows Explorer, or if you're using a Mac, Finders. I like to create a folder category called underscore, or a folder called underscore Luminar Neo catalog. The reason why I do that is because I do a lot of project-based catalogs. And this comes back from my days when I worked with Lightroom. Lightroom lost or destroyed one of my catalogs, and I lost all my edits. I didn't export the edits like I should have. The backups that I had were also corrupt because I kept doing the auto backup, and it just kept corrupting them. So I lost about 6 months worth of images. And thankfully, my 3-2-1 backup plan, 3 copies of your data, 2 stored locally, 1 stored off-site in the cloud. The cloud one, I was able to restore from that. So I'm taking that knowledge that I learned years ago and applying it to what we're doing. So I believe strongly in project-based catalogs. So the example I like to give is this. Anytime you see an underscore in front of the file name, that's because I want it on the very top. And if you click on it, let's say families, there's subcategories or there's subfamilies inside of there. If I did the same thing, let's say with sports. Well, here, actually, there's here's sport portraits. That's a bad example. Let me go down to travel, because I know travel I did. Here we go. So in travel, I'm sorry, it should be on the road. Tutorials. There we go. I'm sorry, travel is the same way. There's tutorials. There we go. So tutorials, I have 1-minute videos, educational, teaching, top wow. So those are all individual catalogs inside tutorials. When it comes to, let's say, models, I have adult models, children models, and then I started exploring, do I want individual catalogs based on just the model? I realized, nope, that's not going to work out good because there's just too many that I was working with. So instead, I have adult models, and then I'll have children model in there also. So if you were doing this, let's say for, where is it? Let's see, wildlife. So in wildlife, I have all of my wildlife stuff here. When we traveled, let's say Iceland, I had all my Iceland photos into my traveling. Here's workshops. So I did one at TNF, and I did one for Angie Birmingham. So that's entirely up to you. I'm just giving some examples on how I kind of like to organize it. It has to make sense to you. Now, the other reason why I did this _Luminar Neo catalog and not in my pictures folder, because here it is in the pictures folder right here. Look, Luminar Neo catalog. Well, if Luminar doesn't start, the majority of the time, it's a corrupt catalog. And that could happen if, let's say, you shut the program down prematurely. If we upgraded, you updated your software, somewhere in the glitch, there may be a problem, and you didn't back up the catalog, stuff like that could happen. Therefore, it's best to put it in one location. So here, you'd have to find it, rename it, relaunch it. So instead, that's why I like putting it here on my fastest drive, Luminar Neo catalog. Now, let me show you this in practical use. I'm going to close my catalog, my Luminar Neo. So Luminar Neo is closed. If you're having problems, Luminar Neo won't open. Here's what you could do. I'm going to come here to my catalog, and I'm going to rename this. Let me just put _old. All right? Now that I understand, that's where my catalog is being held. Well, if I run Luminar Neo, watch what's going to happen. It's going to come up and say, hey, I can't find that catalog. So here it comes. And once it gives me that error message, that's a good thing. Because then that's telling me that, right here, look, you can't find the catalog. So I can either create a new catalog or choose a different catalog. This is for troubleshooting to see if it's your catalog issue. So here's the suggestion. Create a new catalog. I'm going to create this new catalog, but guess what I'm going to call it? Clean slate. Or anything, just clean catalog, whatever it is. I know that that's a clean catalog. In fact, I'm going to put _ in front of it so I know exactly where it's going to be. Well, where do I put it? I'm going to put it in that folder that I told you about before. So it's under my C drive. I'm sorry, my D drive. And I'm going to put it in that old, well, I renamed it old Luminar Neo catalog. Save it. And now Luminar Neo is going to be able to open up for me. So if it opens, then you know right away, guess what? It's a catalog issue. There's an issue with my catalog. Now you're back up and running with Luminar Neo. So, well, what do? If that's the issue, you know that it's the catalog, but you want to be able to go back and use the previous one, well, you could try to reopen it again here. File, catalog, open, and try to open up that original catalog. If it opens, then you're back to normal. If it doesn't, then you know that file is corrupted, and we'll have to do a restore from backup. So again, this is just a way to help you troubleshoot if it's a catalog issue. Now, I know it's a catalog issue. We fixed it. I'm going to close out of it again. This time I'm going to go back and I want to rename this my Luminar Neo catalog. So now I'm back to normal again. So now that's where my catalog is going to reside. When I run it, you know what's going to happen? It's going to tell me it can't find it because remember, we renamed it, and that's okay because I'm going to go to the catalog that I want. So again, if Luminar Neo is not opening or if it's running extremely slow, I want to create a new catalog. So I'm going to come in here, and once again, it's on my fastest drive, my D drive, which is internal, Luminar Neo catalog. Let's do Coffee Break 2025. There it is, and open. And now it's going to launch that catalog for me. So I hope that clears up if it's not running fast for you or if you're having issues. Now, if you can open up Luminar Neo, but it's running really slow, just come over here, File, Catalog, create a new catalog. All right? And then from here, run through what we just did. Now, if you're on a Mac, guess what? So much easier on a Mac OS system. All you need to do is hold down the Option key as you launch Luminar Neo. It'll come up with that screen you just saw. Then from there, create a new catalog or choose a different catalog, and you'll be up and running. That's going to help you the majority of the times if there's an issue with the Luminar Neo not opening, or if Luminar Neo is running extremely slow, that'll pinpoint if it's there. So I hope that solved that issue. Now, let's come over here and let's do a little maintenance. Preferences. So under the preferences, look, I have 1.18 gigs for my cache, or for the cache. If it starts to get too big, clear it. They say, the support team was saying between 5 and 7 gigs, it's great. If you want your images to refresh really, really quickly, leave that around 5 gigs. If I clear it, it's going to start at 0. That means that now it's going to have to rebuild any of those previews. Well, think of it this way. If I wasn't looking at these images for 6 months, well, why do I want it to appear fast? I want the most recent images that I'm working on to appear quickly. So you may just clear cache and then just go through the current images. Now, down here, maximum size for the preview cache, 12.4. Support says 10 gigs is good. I have a lot of disk space on this computer, so I don't mind doing 12.4. And you notice it only did 1 gig, so that's the maximum size. Graphics accelerator, always leave that on. If there's an issue, then turn it off. That right there is going to make it quicker and faster. If you have a newer computer, leave it on. Dynamic background. This is for aesthetics. I like it off. Now, the team did a really cool job where if you turn it on, it takes whatever image you're working on, and that becomes a faded background. I don't like it because in photo editing, I like the neutral gray, so it doesn't distract me from what I'm working on. So I like to keep mine off. Enable smart search. This was new with what the support team told me this morning. I'm going to turn mine off. I don't use it. I don't do smart search, so I'm going to leave it off. If you do a lot of searching, smart search, then do the default. They said 10,000 is pretty good. All right. Since I don't use Luminar Neo as my digital asset manager, I use it more for like a glorified browser because I'm in Windows, and our Windows photo browsing is horrible. Luminar Neo fills my needs for that. So I use it when I just want to look in a catalog, in a folder, look at my images. It does a great job on that. So there, I'm going to leave that off. Last, analyze. Help Skylum improve your Luminar Neo by sharing your data that you use in the application. I have no problem doing that. I do it for almost all my programs. If you are a type of person who doesn't feel comfortable with that, then turn it off. That's up to you. So the only change I made for me is enable smart search. I turn that off. That's going to help free up some resources slightly, and I'm good to go. So that was my preferences. Now, we already talked about, pull this back up again. Here we go. Here we go. We already talked about damaged or overloaded your catalogs, how to fix that. And we talked about the bloating of a catalog and what we could do, project-based versus one large catalog. And then from here, catalog, we already talked about this. It's stored on my local drive. Do not put it on an external drive. And the part I wanted to get to right here is, where should you put your images? All right, so where should we put our images? And I use external drives. I have a RAID system set up, and I also have just a regular, very, very fast, high-speed USB drive. That's where my images are on. So if my computer, something happens to my computer, those images are safe because it's an external drive. Now, when I travel, I do have another external drive that's about 4 terabytes. I put what I need on that drive, and now I can take my catalog and everything with me when I travel. So where should you put your images? Not on a network drive. Put it on a very fast external drive. If you're using like a laptop like I am, and you start saving to your hard drive on your laptop, it's going to fill up really quick. Right now I have about 16 terabytes of data. So that's why I use the RAID system to help it. It's fast. I don't even notice the changes in it. It's that quick. If you have a slow external drive, let's say 5,400 RPMs, it's going to take a little while for it to load those images inside Luminar Neo. So it's always best to have faster drives. SSD drives are actually the best, but they're really expensive. So the RAID system I have is built on 7200 speed drives. They're fast drives. So again, if you're not noticing any issues, don't change anything. But if you're noticing your images take a while for it to load up, it could be the bottleneck with your hard drive. It's not as fast. All right. So that's where I leave my external drives for my images. And let's do this. Traveling on the road. Oh, good example. Here I am. Here's my beautiful goddaughter, Erica. So here's an image. Where is that image? Well, that image is stored on my local drive, right here, my D drive, because on my laptop I have 2. Notice it's under traveling on the road. But if I were going to use on my regular work, look where it is. It's on my E drive, and my F drive are identical. So this E drive and F drive are identical. 3, 2, 1 backup. 3 copies of your data, 2 stored locally. My E drive, my F drive. Third one is on in the cloud, either CrashPlan or Backblaze. Windows users, Backblaze seems to work the best for me. Mac users, CrashPlan seem to work the best for Mac users. That's something you could try on your own. But if I add a folder of images, I'm going to add it from my E drive. I know that if I disconnect that drive from my computer, I won't have access to those images. All right? So keep in mind, you want your images on the external drive. By doing that, you'll save your current drive, your fastest operating system drive, will have lots of free space to work on its own cache. All right? So I have that there. Let me get back to the last part. Okay, yes, I have two more. Moving or deleting images. So this was something the team talked to me about today, which I thought was great. I always, if I'm going to move a file, let's use Erica here. And let's do this. So I have Erica here, I have Erica here, and traveling on the road inside Luminar Neo. I want to create a new subfolder, and I'm going to call this Erica. There we are. So here we are with Erica. So now that I have Erica in that section, well, what I could do is click, click. Now I have two of those, and there it is, Erica. If I drag and drop them to Erica, now it's in that folder. Any changes I made, any cropping, special, whatever it is, it's going to recognize it because Luminar Neo knows right where it's at. But if I close Luminar Neo, I shut it down, and I move Erica's images all over the place, it's not going to know where it is. Because remember, it's a database. It's saying in that database, hey, that image is supposed to be in this folder. Now, what support told me this morning, which is really cool, if Luminar Neo was open, and I'm inside my Explorer or Finder, and I move things all over the place, Luminar Neo is smart enough to know that that was moved or renamed. It'll adjust it into its database, all right? So that's a great thing to know. If you're going to move things around, try to keep Luminar Neo open when you're doing that, all right? And last, and I thank Carl and Dale for helping a lot of people with this to understand single image edits. These single image edits, my brother's going to kill me. I put them in here. These are just temporary. These are images that you're only going to work on them for a very quick time. So you grab it, you do a few quick edits, you lose them, you don't care because they're disposable. I want to do a quick, like I did for my sister. Here's her boyfriend. She wanted two images put together. She wanted that image here. Right here, you see him with his eyes closed, but they loved the fireworks in the background. This image here with his eyes open. I made a quick layer, and I used this image, and I applied it to this image, exported it to her, gave it to her. I don't need it anymore. I'm not going to review it, so I can either delete them or remove them from the catalog, or from this catalog, all right? So that's your single image edits. Think of them as temporary. Don't rely on them permanently. Once you're done with them, like this here, I could just erase all of them. I don't need them anymore, right? Also think of it this way. If Carl and Dale came to my house for a visit, they brought their thumb drive with me or with them, and they want me to look at some of their images, I could put it into the computer, single image edits, do whatever you want to do with them, export them back to their thumb drive. Once they remove it, I could clear them out of my system and no longer have access to them, all right? And one last bonus tip. When you're done, let's do this. Recent edits. Okay, so, there's no recent, because it's a new catalog. So let me just do a real quick edit. Let's grab Luminar Coffee Break. Okay, I'll do this one here. All right, I love this shot. I'm going to crop it. And what we'll do is this. So I'm going to change the story on this just by a single crop. Watch this. He's leaning into her. Let's do a Dutch tilt. She's leaning into him. There we go. And that's what I kind of like better because, respectfully, the youngest showing respect to the elder. There we go. Look how I just changed the storyline. Now it looks like she's leaning into him, and the story just looks different. All right, got it. Let's do it real quick. Auto adjust. Second, there we go. Ooh, nice. Shadows. And then just a little bit right there. Okay, that's good. For now, that's fine. You're done with your edits. What do? Export them. Export your finished product. Don't just leave them in Luminar Neo, because if the catalog crashes, if you lose it, you lose all those edits. So from here, what I'm going to do is this. Show in Explorer. Let's see if I did this good. Okay, so I call this the Dutch tilt. I'm going to create a new folder. Actually, let's do this coffee break. Nope, I already did. Look, _complete. So where am I going to bring this? I want to export it back where it came from. So I'll always remember where that image is. So I'm going to browse, and that's under my E drive, underscore photography. I'm pretty sure I put that under coffee, right? Yep, coffee break with Luminar Neo, underscore complete. Select that folder, and I'm not going to edit this image again, so I'm going to leave it as a JPEG. If I were to make additional edits to it, or if I foresee I'm going to use Photoshop to do, let's say, an ad, or I'm going to create a movie poster, then I'll save it as a TIFF here. So this way it's larger and I have the full image I can work with, but I like it like this. Export. Now it's going to go right back to that folder and underscore Luminar catalog complete. There it is. All right. And notice it's all automatically put back in Luminar Neo. So when you're doing this, think of it from that perspective, that when you're done with your edits in Luminar Neo, you want to make sure that you export your final product. So in case anything happens, you have them there, and you don't have to open up Luminar Neo to find your edits. This holiday season, my family's going to ask me, show us some of your best photos you worked on throughout the year. I want to show them the best of my best. I don't want to have to open up Luminar Neo, project it onto the TV. Okay, let's look at some of these images. I want the best of the best. And speaking of that, by the way, if you use the new Luminar Share, where you can create your own little portfolio web gallery, then you can just do it from your phone. Connect your phone to your TV, and then just amaze your family and friends with the stuff you've been working on. All right? So I hope that helped. Let's review it one more time. Here we are. So the top 5, and if you have additional ones that you want to share with us, please do. Damaged or overloaded catalog, loaded catalog slowing everything down, catalog stored on an external drive, make sure it's on your fastest local, photos stored on an external drive, then disconnected, moving or deleting photos outside of Luminar Neo, and the last one we just did, single image mode confuses people. Those are the top 5 tips I want to make sure you understand. And please do me a favor on our social media. And I'm noticing, and I've been posting about you to my Skylum teammates, how somebody's having an issue. You guys jump right in and you know the answers. I'm so proud to see that. That's awesome. You're paying it forward. There it is, our Luminar Neo Facebook group. Please make sure if you're on that group and somebody is having an issue, send them a link to this or give them your knowledge where you can help them. All right? Well, thanks so much. Now, for those that are here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee.